people get mad, especially reading comments. People are like, "Why is this showing up on my TikTok feed? Why am I seeing this trash or blah 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 or whatever word they want to use that we're not going to say here?" It's like, maybe there's a reason it's showing up on your page. I don't know what else you're looking at, but I'm glad you're finding this Subu clip of whatever's being said. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Long Distance Pizza Party podcast. This is episode 60.
Wow,
We,
we're
we
getting
made
old.
it. We made some 60 and some change. Somewhere in there. It's 60. It should be 60 plus because there's like, do you count the lost episode? Do
There's
you?
a couple hidden, episodes out there.
Yeah. Well, there and then there's like, we missed a couple weeks, so technically we should be ahead a couple.
Yeah.
But whatever, semantics. But we have another guest with us today. That's Pastor Dale. You might see him on the TikToks or what is it? TikTok, Instagram, YouTube,
Yeah.
all of the big main ones. You're out there. You might see some of his parables out there. But welcome on.
Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah. But do you want to introduce yourself a little bit? I kind of started doing. I'll let you do it. You can explain a little better.
Well, not a whole lot to explain. I'm a pastor of a small church in Caledonia, Missouri. It's a real small rural town. It's actually a village. It's the smallest chartered town in the state of Missouri, about 120 people. And,
Wow.
yeah, but we have a lot of other smaller towns around. We have a church of about 100 down here, and so makes it sound like it's really big, when you have 100 people and there's only 120 in the town, but it's
You
not quite that impressive.
you can
But,
you can claim you've got the whole town.
Yeah, for ratios, that's pretty good. I mean,
yeah, ratio is pretty good. Yeah. I actually didn't know what TikTok really was until December. I mean, I just thought it was just a bunch of videos that you scrolled through, and I kind of got fed up with Facebook. Facebook was not much like it used to be. And my daughter, who's our youth pastor, again, not that impressive in a small town because, you grab everybody you can. She kept telling me, Dad, you need to get on TikTok. I think you'd really like TikTok. And so started in December filming some shorts and that didn't really know what I was going to do with it until after about the first of the year. And then kind of slid into really wanting to help with the mental health lane of stuff. There's a kind of a taboo talking sometimes in church. Everybody thinks they've got to have it all together, and everybody knows you're a hypocrite if you actually think that you got it all together. So, thought I would do some harder hitting issues, and I was a children's pastor for several years at a much larger church, a church of about 800. No mega church by no stretch, but in our area it kind of is. And so I've done puppets and costume characters, and I don't know, I call it edutainment. It's a little bit of education, a little bit of entertainment, and so that's kind of just who I've always been. So I thought, well, why not throw it out there on TikTok and see what happens. So that's about the gist of me.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. I didn't realize you just started in December. It feels like maybe that's just no. Is that when I found your stuff? I think I found it a little after that, but it just feels like you've done it longer.
I stay consistent. I show up every day with a new video, at least one every day. But I've done this type of stuff for years. So I just had to age my audience a little bit more because it was more geared toward, 5 to 12-year-olds. And now I've kind of geared it to kind of hit more teen to adult. And honestly, I think when I look at my analytics, I've got more middle-aged women than I got anything on my analytics.
That's funny.
Yeah, don't look at analytics. That gets depressing.
Yeah.
No. That's one of the big things I think they tell you when it comes to content creation. They say, don't look at it that much because then you're gonna drive yourself crazy because you're gonna try to do whatever to get like more views. And it's like it's good in the short run, but like long run,
Yeah.
it's not that impressive. but yeah, you're in your stuff. You talk about living parables, and a lot of your videos you end it with the parables.
Mhm.
Was that you just influenced by like biblical parables? You're like, oh, I could do that esque storytelling, but I could do it in like a short form content, or did it just was like I'm just kind of throwing stuff together for
Well, first I
content?
started throwing stuff together.
Well, yes.
uh, because I wasn't really sure. And and I got to looking at who I was. I was trying to really they talk about your niche, trying to find your niche, trying to find your audience, and I got I don't know really where I wanted to go with it, and you got to have some kind of a hook. So I got to thinking, I'm a storyteller. That's really what I am, and that's probably even my preaching on Sundays at my church. I tell stories. I relate those stories back to biblical truth, and I thought, this is a good road. So we decided, a lot of prayer, me and the Holy Spirit. I decided, I think I'll go with living parables, and so everything's a parable, everything's a story. So the kind of the point behind my whole entire channel is our life is a story. Everything that we live, everything that we do, it's our story, and if we're living our life for Christ, we are a living, walking, talking parable. So everything and in fact, ask my children, they'll tell you that they're parables in my sermons every Sunday. So,
Yeah. When my dad was pastoring, we called that illustrations.
There you go.
Yeah, I just branded that. That's
Yeah, there you go.
See, you know when it's bad when people at your church come up to you, like, I heard a story about you today, when your mom or whoever's speaking or your grandma speaking, like, uh-oh.
Mhm.
Which story, or do you have, because I have 3 siblings, which sibling do you have me confused for? Hopefully I'm getting confused for someone else, and it's not something stupid I've done in my life.
Yes, and it's going to get embellished just a little bit for comic relief.
Oh, of course, of course.
Got to stretch
That
it
or-
just a little bit.
That
Yeah,
or
they're
They're
drive
all
a point
completely
home.
made up.
Yeah.
Or it's something they
Yeah.
misremembered, yeah.
Yeah, misremembered. Sure, that's
That's the
misremembered
defense.
something that happens to fit perfectly into the sermon. Yes, that's
Yeah.
Yes. Or the excuse you use.
Yeah.
That's funny. When it comes to your content creation, how do you think your faith has evolved? And has that evolved it any when it comes to you talking about your faith and how you explain it?
Yeah, I honestly, when I started with the TikTok stuff, I really started to kind of take an assessment of my preaching style and where my passion was at. And I would definitely say I've kind of changed more, even in my preaching at church, just since December when I started doing this. I'm more cognitively aware of maybe the mental health angle behind everything. Like, everything has a mental health component to it, because really, if we're a tripart being, we're a body, a soul, and a spirit. And so, in our flesh, in our body, we have all the regular emotions of anybody who's in or out of church. But in our spirit, we have the Holy Spirit who abides inside of us. And then our soul, of course, is what makes us who we are, and we live on forever. But everything affects one of those areas of our life. Everything does. And so, with the advent of AI, I'm able to write my own music now, because I am not musically inclined, but I can do my own music. And so I've started writing different songs, and we just got one album up on Spotify, mostly just to see if I could do it. And so my next one that I'm working on now is all on mental health songs. And what I'm going to do is I'm writing songs. Familiar with Skillet? Skillet leaves things hanging. When you listen to the song Monster, there's no resolution there. So I wrote one called The Mask. It's kind of the same way. So my plan is on this next album to release it, is I'll do the song. It'll be secular with a Christian undertone, and then I'll do a teaching on that same track underneath it, under track 2, and then do that back and forth with different ways that we look at how we cope with life. We all have different ways of coping, and there's not really a right or wrong way. There's a healthy and an unhealthy, and that's where I want to try to help people to lean toward that healthy side of things, because a lot of us haven't been taught how to cope. Especially, I'm going to be 50 years old in July. and we didn't grow up with the internet. And a lot of folks my age uh, don't really even understand, the difference when you get online, because we'll talk to other people and they think, well, you should be nice or you should talk to people. And some people have always grown up with the internet, but we don't have this. We never had a class on internet etiquette. How do you talk to people? And people are really losing the face-to-face interaction anymore, knowing how to have social skills. It's a lot easier for me to write you off behind a screen than what it is for me to say something to your face. And so I really want to help in those arenas as well, because that also is mental health, not only ours, but what we do to other people, the way we treat them. So we're working on a lot of things like that, just getting the mind to think and open up and maybe think about how someone else is perceiving some of the things that we say. I don't want to drive ourselves nuts, but we also need to, at the same time, need to consider one another. And, the Bible tells us to provoke one another to righteousness. And I think a lot of that, to provoke something is to stir it up. And I think we can provoke people to righteousness, or we can provoke them to wrath. And I'd rather do the former than the latter.
Yeah, that's cool. It's funny when you hear people get mad, especially reading comments. People are like, "Why is this showing up on my TikTok feed? Why am I seeing this trash or blah 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 or whatever word they want to use that we're not going to say here?" It's like, maybe there's a reason it's showing up on your page. I don't know what else you're looking at, but I'm glad you're finding this Subu clip of whatever's being said.
Yeah.
Even at church, people get upset about stuff. Like, maybe you're getting upset at it for a reason. Maybe you should think on that a little bit, because it's conviction or whatever you're getting upset about, even if it's like pastor changed their chairs now and you're getting upset about it.
Well, don't take out the red back. That's out of a little country church. You'll
exactly.
Start them all up and you put the string on the wall.
Exactly. It's being a pastor. Do you feel? I'm sure you feel a lot of that. You get the complaints from your congregation or people being like, "Oh, why did you change this?" or "Why didn't you blank or whatever? Why aren't we doing this thing as tradition?"
Oh yeah, they complain because I had TikTok. So, Bible says, "Let the redeemed of the Lord say so." So I just
yeah. Technology in church is one of those things where it's like, at my church, pastor likes to tell a story like when they got projectors in the church and they started doing this on the screens. He's like, I don't know what I was doing. I thankfully I had a teenage son who helped me figure it out. But he's like, so many people in the church got mad at it. But also you're complaining you can't read in the Bible. You can't read some of the small print. I have it on the screen for you, so you look at it. You can follow along. And there's people that come into church, they don't have a Bible because they're new to all this. Now they can follow along. Well, we could provide them a Bible. They could read it for themselves, but also, to get them used to it, you could have it on the screen. I find it funny when people complain about technology in church, especially with like social media. You got some people like, oh no, we're not going to post anything on social media. We're not going to post a clip of something pastor said, or the pastor's not going to post something. I find it funny. Because I've seen some of your stuff. You were also posting some of your sermon clips, it looked like. So do you try doing a mix of that with your regular content, just for not self-promotion, but you like thought of something, you're like, oh, that would be a perfect clip?
Right now, I guess I'm just been kind of playing back and forth with some stuff. I did take a couple of clips from the sanctuary where I preached and did that, but I haven't done anything like I haven't actually started trying to record content and break it down into anything yet. I'm really just kind of playing right now, trying to see what I can push, where I can. I actually started out on TikTok doing the lives, and then I was like, well, I'm putting all this content together for the live. I might as well go ahead and throw a podcast together with the same content. So I started that like about a month ago. So I've got 4 episodes. I just uploaded the 4th one today, and then wrote number 5 today. And then so I'm recording them and edit them. And so I'm just reusing the same content. So and a lot of it's experimental right now. It's all this kind of new to me, because I did children's ministry and I used to do the media department at our church. So video editing and all that was kind of, something I was fairly decent at before. It's kind of passed me by in the last I've been pastoring full time now for about 13 years. Plus, I worked for a hospice company for 9 years of that when I first started coming here. So I wound up having to quit the hospice company because the church was growing so much I couldn't keep up with both of it. And it's just kind of burning me. So I quit that. Thank God I got out just before COVID, because that was probably a very chaotic time to be doing hospice. But yeah, I'm just kind of playing with the content right now. I would like to, our church is small, so most of everything we do in the church, we just an iPhone set up on a tripod somewhere right now. But this room in here that I'm filming in is a 10 by 10, and I transform it into all different kinds of stuff with backdrops and.
I was gonna say, about to ask, because I saw that. I was like, "Oh, this is a really cool setup. I see the film reels, I see the puppets and everything." Funny enough, one of your puppets. It took me a second when I was looking at your content, because I thought it was someone, a friend of my mom's, was posting something on her, because it looks just like her as a puppet, and it threw me off.
Mabel?
The old lady, yes, looks like someone who goes to my mom, our church. One of my mom's friends, and I'm like, that's fun. I kind of want to tag her in this to see what her reply is, but I don't want to hear something from my mom. Like.
Somebody had to say it.
Exactly.
She's kind of a lady that can tell you off, and you'll say thank you at the end.
Exactly. She's not quite like, she's really nice, but she looks like that, and it was really funny.
Yeah, she's a lot of fun. I just this over here, that's Sadie Brooks. I just did a music video of her singing "You're Offended." That one I put on YouTube. I haven't reformatted it to fit TikTok yet, but that one's on YouTube. Yeah, it's a song all about somebody getting all offended, and they get mad and leave the church. It's a mix of the puppetry and some AI, like music video style back and forth. I was kind of playing with some of that too. So.
The other one, the one that you talk about, reminds me of what was it? Mama from Mama's Family.
Yeah, and she's kind of she's kind of like Mama meets Medea meets yeah, maybe a little nicer, but
well, isn't that
a little less cussing?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. She just kind of gives you those little zingers, and it's a good spiritual truth punch in the gut. And that's and her closing lines always, well, somebody had to say it. She's just got that spiritual truth, and she can get away with. That's what I like about puppets. Puppets can get away with stuff that I can't get away with.
So everyone just preach a message with a puppet,
I'll tell you, I can get away with a lot more that way. Yeah, they're laughing at the same time that they're realizing that they were in trouble. Yeah, I've got about 30 different puppets. I haven't adapted everything quite just yet for TikTok, because most of them were all children's ministry stuff that I'd done, and they're these more professional style puppets here like this.
So is the cowboy hat one, is that you in puppet form?
It was me years ago when I was younger, and I had to adapt him a little bit. So instead of that being me, that's now Buck Stringer. So he does what I can't do. He plays guitar, or in this case, it's a ukulele. But yeah, I've got a little bit more work I got to do, because it's really hard to hold that guitar up and make him be able to strum it while you're one man band. So I've got to fix something to him to hold that on there. So before I record the next video, but yeah, he was my likeness years ago. I don't have hair now. That one's got hair.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
in that boat with you, getting there.
Exactly, same. Yeah, because watching some of her content, I was like, this really feels like a VBS thing. Like it like had vibe of a VBS thing. Now it makes, you did kids mention stuff like that. It makes way more sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, doing ministries is always fun. I do help with our kids ministry, and it's a blast. Some weeks you're like, I love these kids. Other weeks you're just like, you need to go to your parents. You need to go next door.
Becoming a lead pastor versus being a children's pastor, because I had a children's ministry that was the same size as my church is now, and I say I got demoted becoming a lead pastor. Children's ministry was fun. Yeah.
Do you being a ministry, do you have any fun stories that that you are willing to tell that you hopefully any of your congregation doesn't see or someone doesn't see, like
Yeah,
Oh,
or the statute of limitations have run out either way.
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
Oh, I could tell some stories. Yeah. I'll tell you one from when I was a children's pastor one time. So, not every pastor has a sense of humor, and not every one of them has the same sense of humor as you. So, we'd done a VBS one time, and we did a hillbilly skit. And they told us they wanted us to come and highlight one of our skits that we did in Vacation Bible School. So, me and the other guy that was doing the hillbilly skit, we were Bubba and Bubba. It was real creative, you know. And so they told us to come down at offering time dressed in our skits from VBS. Well, they didn't tell us which one. Well, the kids laughed the hardest at Bubba and Bubba. So I was a lot bigger guy back then too. Then because I was pushing 450 back then, and the other guy that was with me is a pretty good sized feller too. So we come downstairs and wearing our bib overalls. I had a fake hunting rifle and a dead skunk. And we came down right at offering time, and Bubba and Bubba stepped out on the stage. And let me just tell you, our pastor was not thrilled. he, he asked us to hurry up and leave under his breath. He put the microphone down and goes, "You need to hurry up and finish this." Yeah. He told us never to bring Bubba and Bubba back into the sanctuary again. Well, we did. But the kids, the kids love it, and adults too. What I love about like puppetry and skits like that, it really lowers the guard down on people. And adults will come and they'll bring these kids to a kids program, and they're not thinking that it's nothing but entertainment. It's just they're going to let the kids play. And we honestly saw just as many people come to Christ, adults come to Christ as we did kids, because they come and bring them to this puppet show, and then before it's all over with, they're sitting there, weeping and giving their heart to the Lord, because the word of God's the word of God, doesn't matter how it's delivered. And I think sometimes it's more powerful in story format, because if you look at what Jesus did, that's how he did everything he did. He told parables, he told stories. And so when you're telling stories, whether you're in a costume or you got a glove on your hand, or you're just telling a good old fashioned story and getting somebody to laugh, their guards down, they're learning, and then before long their hearts pricked and ready to turn. So I think that there's a lot of power in storytelling, and I think that's how Disney made bank, was because they knew there was a lot of power in storytelling. If you can tell a good story and you can get to the heart of an individual, whether that's to make money or whether it's to turn their hearts to Christ, it's got power to it. And I've seen that more times than not, because I used to travel a little bit and do children's ministry, doing some evangelism, and yeah, I loved going into a church where I didn't know anybody and watching them adults push them kids off the front row to get a good front seat. So
Yeah, doing guest speaking is always fun. Our church superintendent asked us to do we had some church event like for the state or whatever, and they're like, "Yeah, you guys should come do the kids nights for like 3 days," and we were all like, "Okay, whatever." Like the lady that's been doing it, she's been doing it for like 10 years, and then like the church that knew me and my family, he'd known us for a couple years. We're like, "All right, that'll be fine." We get there and we're setting up. We don't know where anything's at. We don't know how to set up anything. The guy that does our sound wasn't there, so we're just trying to, by the seat of our pants, trying to make sure everything works. And it's one of these things where it's like, it was so much fun because you don't know anyone there, and you kind of just get to have fun. There's not the pressure of these people
yeah.
at your church, where you kind of gotta watch yourself. You kind of get to have fun. Of course, we had some of the kids from our church who were there. They came with us and everything, but it was like we did have the unfortunate thing. We had one kid we had to tell to leave, and I hate telling a kid to leave, but he was just like, they had like lights hanging up in the back, hanging down. He was like knocking them together like those magnet balls. I'm like, please don't break anything. This isn't our church. I don't want you. But it was just one thing after another with him. It was fun. We also got lost trying to get to Sam's Club in Indy, which was great. Should have taken 10 minutes. Took about an hour to get there. I still to this day don't know how that happened. But that's just the parts of ministry they don't tell you about, is like the smaller moments that you don't think about that's going to be funny, and then like in hindsight, it's funny. Going
One of
with
the kids I had in my children's ministry wound up being a preacher. So
nice, that's funny. Yeah, for a while. So my little brother, one of my other brothers, did the kids ministry for a while before I came along and did it. So for a while after he moved away for college, he went into going to seminary school. They'd always ask where he was at. I'm like, he went to school. He's in near Chicago. He isn't coming on Sunday. He can't make it. It's like a 4-hour drive for him. He's not doing that every week and trying to do school. But less and less, they started asking about him and asking where I was at if I wasn't there for a week, or like if I had to work, or like occasionally I had to work. So then now every once in a while I'll just text my brother and be like, hey, they're not even asking about you now, just to mess with them. And it's always, it's like that sibling thing, especially when there's multiple of us in a ministry. There's a guy at our church that keeps calling me my brother's name because he can't tell the difference between the two of us. I don't know how. We don't look anything alike, but he doesn't see the difference because he's, for whatever reason. But it's that funny thing where you look back, you're like, oh, that's fun stuff. I got to do kids ministry with my brother for like this brief period. It's always fun. Going back with like the parable, because you with everything with parables. We already did that one. I had questions that we've been talking about stuff, so it's been answering some of the questions. What do you think? What would, like for you? What would be like the big hit parable wise on social media if like Jesus was doing them now?
oh wow. Hmm. You mean like what would Jesus parables be now?
Well, that or if like any of his parables that he's talked about, if he decided if he was now and there was social media.
Oh well. Hmm. Hmm. He was now and had social media. Boy, I tell you what, I'm pretty sure. That the one that probably hits the best lane to me is the parable of the talents. Um, because, and this is what I explained to my church when I told them what I was going to do. Is he told him, he said, I'm going to give them out severally as he would. He said one he gave 5, one he gave 3, and the one he gave 1. And the one had 5 went out and doubled it. The one had 3 went out and doubled it. And the one had 1. He said, well, I knew you were a hard man and you reaped where you didn't sow. So I took it out here and I went and buried it. And he said, so here it is. And he called him a wicked and slothful servant. The important part in that is he was a servant. We're talking about a Christian person. He wasn't by a church's standards, I guess you could say, even evil. He was a servant of God. However, he called him wicked and slothful because he didn't do anything with what he had. And I think today we live in a world where people's thumbs is their new church search, is how we look for, we look for so many people. I used to call it TikTok theology. People, they get their theology 60 seconds at a time. And, like, oh, Pastor, did you see that TikTok I saw the other? I sent you a TikTok, like they're not reading their Bible, they're watching TikTok. And to be a good steward in 2026, I felt like, I got to go where the fish are at. And this is my thought process. When I pastor the church, primarily I'm cleaning a fishbowl. Occasionally somebody brings in a new fish and we add to it. But for me, going to TikTok, because I love what the algorithm does, it just sends you out to a bunch of strangers. You don't market it, it markets you. And that way you're just kind of fishing with a different lure and you're reaching a different demographic of people. And I told everybody at church, I said, I feel like if I sit and do nothing, then when he comes back, he said, he that winneth souls is wise. And the opposite of that's got to be true. If you don't win souls, you got to be stupid. And I said, I don't want to be stupid. I don't want to come back. I don't want Jesus to come back and go, you wicked, slothful servant. Well, why didn't you go do something? And I was like, well, I cleaned the aquarium for you, Lord. I don't want that. I want to be found wise when he comes back, and I want to be found so doing. And so, when you look at that parable, to me, I think if Jesus was here, he would put a lot of emphasis on what are we doing right now, especially as we see I guess you can see the world clock kind of ticking backwards and we're almost out of time. What are we doing to be busy, to be about the Father's business? I don't want to have an excuse of, well, I'm still a Christian. I didn't lose my faith. I'm right here. anything else, but I'm still sitting here warm in a pew and maybe I'm singing a song at church once in a while. That's not what he meant. Because he told the one that had the one buried, he said, you could have at least took my talent and put it into the bank and brought it back to me with usury, which that's fancy King James talk for you could have brought me something back with interest. You could have at least invested it. And I think that the church needs to be back to investing into lost people and discipling Christians. That's the two main goals that we have. We should be disciplers, and we should be fishers of men. That's what Peter is supposed to be. He was a fisher of men. He had to learn how to start over again. So I think the greatest parable that could be emphasized, especially today, would be that one. Let's go be busy. Let's be about the Father's business. And if that means doing it on TikTok, or if it means, whatever, standing on the street corner and holding your sign, whatever it is that the Lord calls you to do, I think we should do it. But so many people want they want to be a preacher until they find out that there's more to it than standing up and telling people how to live. I think it looks all glamorous in that, but that's just a small piece of that puzzle. That's not really what pastoring or being a Christian or winning people to Christ is all about. It's about getting out in the trenches and loving people right where they're at. And sometimes it's sticky and it's messy when you get out there in the trenches with people. And it's a lot easier just to bury it and just say, well, I did my best. Here I am. I just don't want to be a barrier. So I don't know. I think that one probably the one that sticks out the most to me, especially right now.
Nice. Yeah. I think sometimes the church wants to focus so much inward. We're like, what can we do for the church? Let's do this X event for the church. Versus like, hey, let's do an event, maybe not on the church grounds. Let's go down the street. Let's go to the park where it's more open, more people. People might find it more welcome. There's not a street sign out front saying this church, where it's like, let's invite other people in.
Yeah.
And or even if stuff we're doing in public, if it's us going to Walmart, if we're chewing out the cashier, because that cashier's going to read me more than the church. And especially if you're the pastor and you're doing that, then they get that wrong idea. If they see, let's say you're wearing a shirt and it says your church logo shirt on it, or they see that you're driving the church van, and you're like, oh, I don't want to go there because X person, the pastor, whoever, chewed me out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like doing a kids ministry, you get kids like they bring their cousin. Their cousins never touched church. Like unfortunately have never been in church. And they're like, oh, I want to do more of that. Versus if I was chewing them out the whole time, it's like, oh, I don't want to go there because this guy that was running it that is, yelling at me the whole time. I don't feel like that doesn't make me feel welcome. And I think, because I remember back in the day as a kid, we'd do like hand out pamphlets at like the couple neighborhoods that are around my area, around our church. And like, there's less of that. And I think, again, the advent of social media, more people are inward where they're like, I can do it all from my phone. I've been guilty of that where I've like invited people to church through texting them, and they go to the church and I see them at church, but I don't go over and talk to them because I find the pew too comfy, or I just don't want to get up. And it's this thing that like the church needs to embrace social media, but also like understand like we still need to go out.
Yeah, yeah. There's nothing going to ever replace face to face.
Oh yeah.
I mean I do think that the video has helped, doing stuff like this where we can talk to people face to face. That's what Paul, when he wrote the harsh letter to the First Corinthians, he said, I wish that I was in front of you so you could see my face, you could hear my voice, so I'm not mad, because it was a pretty stern letter. And when people get their phones and they start scrolling through there, we read the tone that we think is on the other side of it, not what's there. And Paul knew that even in just writing a letter, and that's why he said, "I wish I could be there in front of you, so you could hear my voice." And no, I'm not mad. I'm concerned about you and your spiritual health and well-being. I think we're losing that with the technology. There was I forgot the statistic on it, but they were saying that today people feel more lonely now than ever before. And I think it's because we hide behind social media. How many times have you heard somebody say that they don't feel like peopling today, or they have social anxiety? I never heard the term social anxiety in the 80s. We didn't get the choice to have social anxiety. We got sent outside when I was a kid, I got sent outside and the door was locked. And if I had to go to the bathroom, well, go find a tree because you weren't coming back in the house. Mom was cleaning and you were going to go make friends in the neighborhood. Well, now, people are scared to let their kids outside and, you don't have that anymore. So now kids have social anxiety. They don't know how to people. They don't know how to have good conversations. And I see adults don't know how to have a good conversation anymore. And they're just mean bullies like they were when they were kids because they never really got to grow up because they never had any social skills. And it makes it more difficult with that. And I think we're more connected than we've ever been, but we're also more lonely than what we've ever been.
Yeah, it's a very sad thing to see in church where it's one of those things.
Yeah, the church gets stuck in the holy huddle. Then
yes,
yeah, or you get those cliques or you get those little groups and me, my four, and no more, and no one else is welcome because they're uncomfortable. It's not because they're not welcome. They don't know how to welcome anybody else because one more person in that social mix, they don't know how to handle it, or they get jealous because somebody else might think they're better than them, or they're afraid they're going to lose what little circle that they have anymore. It's almost a protective thing. It's not. I don't think people mean it intentionally. I just don't think they really know how to interact like they used to.
Yeah, or they get the viewpoint like, oh, they'll be here only that one Sunday. They're there the one time. Especially if it's holiday stuff where it's like, oh, they're going to be here this Sunday. They'll be here next Sunday. But if you go talk to them, they might come the next Sunday.
Right.
I try making a point whenever I see new kids. I will talk to the parents as well. Where it's like, I'm like, oh, because the kids might not want to come, but if the parents, they show them like, oh, I have a safe spot for my kid, where I know where they can get some good values, especially if they're finding a new church.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. I think a lot of they view church as options. Like, well, if I don't like this church, I can go down the street.
Yeah.
The consumerism in the church today is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least in the Western church. Also.
Yes. Yeah. Instead of getting a Pentecostal, I can go Baptist or I can go Catholic because they're not comfortable.
Mm-hmm. And Baskin Robbins 31 flavors.
Heck yeah. Now, I feel like not every church is equal. I think there's some churches where it's like that's something you pray about. Like, oh, I feel really comfortable at this church. This is where I feel like I'm being led to belong. Versus be like, oh, I didn't like the red pews, or I didn't like Nancy greeting me at the door. They're again use discernment as well. Like if you're going to there's a Unitarian church around here. People are like, I went there. I'm like, why are you going there? I want to go there. Like that's the last church I'd go to. That's not really a church. That's something else. Yeah, exactry. We do have some guest questions. I meant to bring them up earlier. Crad's nodding his head because he wanted to bring them up. I saw him earlier looking, but I try to weave it into conversation. Being the Long Distance Pizza Party podcast, do you have like a favorite pizza or pizza place? If that's your thing.
Well, I'm from Missouri, so St. Louis style pizza is kind of our thing here. So the Emo's Pizza is kind of my favorite. Yeah.
What is the St. Louis style? I feel like I've had it. Super thin
crust. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Yeah. You don't have a lasagna or the like in Chicago, the deep dish. Like the casserole.
Oh, you can get it here, but St. Louis style has been that thin crust. Yeah. Yeah. They've got they just got
chips, okay.
Different kind of flavor.
Yeah.
The favorite toppings on pizza. Sorry, Minner.
No, you're good.
Oh man, now we're getting really super spiritual here. I like sausage and bacon. I like it pretty simple.
Sausage and bacon. All right, and then of course
real bacon, not that stuff from Canada. Now, like
not the turkey bacon or the
no
the stuff from If it's not that stuff from Canada, I guess that probably answers the next question. Then.
Yeah, if it don't clog the artery, it's not bacon.
All right, so controversial topic. This might be the most controversial one. The question we always ask, and it's the one I always loathe to ask because it normally starts stuff. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Actually, yeah, I like ham and pineapple on pizza.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, and here I thought we were going to heaven together. Dang it. Okay.
I actually, I tried grilling a hamburger, and you get the Hawaiian buns, grill the hamburger, and you grill the pineapple ring slices.
Oh, that's
But that,
good.
yeah. So my grandma used to say that'll make your tongue slap your brains out.
Nah,
There
just
you
playing
go.
with you. I'm not a big pineapple on pizza guy.
I didn't think I would be either. There's a pizza place down here. It's like a buffet pizza place. It's called Cece's Pizza. I don't know if y'all are familiar.
They still have those.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard of CC's.
They have the macaroni and cheese pizza. And the first time I saw that, I thought, I bet this is disgusting, but it's actually not half bad. Got-
When prepared properly, yes.
yeah, no, I wasn't. But I still, it's not my favorite, not my favorite pizza place of all time though. So I still like the Emo's Pizza.
I'll refrain from comments about CC's.
I
That's our
think
spot there, Doc.
I think the only time I've had CC's is being in St. Louis, so that's not a thing. CC's isn't a thing around here, so that makes more sense.
I haven't been. There's one just about 30 minutes from here, but I haven't been there probably in about 3 years. I don't actually eat out a lot anymore. After I lost weight, I just try to stay away from food. I always tell my wife that it's like putting a bartender, becoming a bartender after you quit drinking. Like it just, uh, I don't eat out hardly at all. I usually eat one meal a day and then a couple of light snacks, and that's it because I'm scared to death of putting my weight back on. So I still haven't got off all I'd like, but I've been kind of plateaued here for a while.
More power to you,
Yeah, okay, fry,
for sure.
brown.
As a fellow and still current big guy.
I tell you, I spent most of my life. I'm still a big guy, but just uh, I was headed down a pretty bad path with my health, and I knew I had to do something. So it was either
See,
Is it your birthday?
starve or have surgery and starve. So I figure I'd just starve. I don't know since I'm going under the knife for it. So.
see, Nathan, now you need to feel extremely guilty for what you do.
Me, I gotta
That's
feel
right.
guilty.
That's right in the title. Food reviews.
I feel guilty. No, I just I enable my grandma, the one who had a massive heart attack. I enable her. That's what she says. I'm like, don't advertise that. Like, I should be careful. She is listening. She probably is listening.
I mean,
She's
you're
right
out here
downstairs.
You're out here sinning for a living, Nathan.
There you
You're
go.
reviewing
There you
food.
go.
Promote
Causing
non-neglect.
stumbling blocks, and
Ah,
it
there
says
you
in the
go.
Bible not to do that with your liberty. That's what
Exactly.
you're doing right now.
Exactly.
We're gonna ship you a millstone so you can just carry
Yeah.
that around.
Yeah, just put it right around your neck there, Nathan. That's what
There
you
you
need to do.
go. I gotta take it off when I go to work. I have jewelry at work.
Oh, it's heavy enough. You won't be going to work.
No, I need.
It's like Ebenezer Scrooge.
Swimming with
Just keep
fish.
adding a chain every day when you do a food review.
Yeah, don't you meet Jacob Marley?
Yeah, there you go.
Jacob Marley. No, both of them actually.
Oh, that is.
Because Ebenezer Scrooge had a bigger chain than Jacob Marley ever did.
Oh, that is fair. But going with, you've touched on it a little bit. You're talking about mental health and helping people fight with it. Do you have any do you hear any common struggles people will talk about while when you're bringing that up in ministry or talking about it?
I think anxiety and depression seem to be, I guess, because they're so broad.
Mm-hmm.
You hear about that the most. The I never really realized until about maybe, I don't know, just a little before COVID, how many people battled with depression. And you put on you can put on a pretty good face. People can wear a pretty good face up front, but then go home and not cope with it well. And I remember for myself, I called myself a functional depressed person, and I had no reason why I was depressed. I'd go to work, and then I would come home after work, and I had expend all the mental energy that I had, and I couldn't function after I got home. And my wife and I both were kind of in the same spot at the same time. Usually one's up and the other one's down, and you can kind of help each other. And we were no help to each other at all. And one night I managed to muster about as much emotional fortitude as I could to pray. And it took about all I had left after working all day. And I told the Lord that I needed his help to fight this depression. And I didn't have no reason to, I had a good church, had a good family, I had a good job. The bills was all paid, I wasn't wealthy by no stretch, but we weren't hurting. But I couldn't figure a reason why I felt depressed, but I had no motivation, just nothing. And the Lord began to deal with me because it had been probably, oh gosh, probably over a year. I'd let projects build up that I couldn't complete. And of course, that would only make the depression worse. And I developed this statement: the power of 15 minutes. I'm going to start doing something for 15 minutes. And then if I'm exhausted after that, then I'll let myself rest. But I'm not going to do nothing else until I get this one 15-minute job. So whatever it took, I would work for 15 minutes. And it wasn't long after that, of pushing myself through that, I was able to start doing 20 minutes and 30 minutes and an hour, and got to where I didn't want to go to bed because I was in full swing mode again. And I learned through that season that depression, while there is some clinical depression, I believe that there's a spiritual depression, and I think that there's a strong spiritual element to it. And some people, maybe, you lose a loved one and you need some medication to get through during that time, or there's a chemical imbalance in your brain and you do need to have lifetime medications. But I think some things are just a matter of we cave into a spiritual warfare and we don't fight it. And I'd say it took us almost a year, my wife and I bought a ring that said I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and I put that on in place of my wedding band. And I bought my wife a tennis bracelet that said that. And every day we would look at that scripture, and we learned the most important part of that scripture: I can do. Um, I think we want God to magically make things go away sometimes for us, but there's a faith without works is dead element that we have to remember. And I can pray for depression to leave me all that I want, but I've got to get up off the couch and fight it. That's called spiritual warfare for a reason. I fight a real enemy, and sometimes that enemy comes in the form of anxiety and depression. And I don't know that the church can separate the mental health side of that from the spiritual warfare side of that. And that's been my passion, to try to help alleviate those problems, for us to draw closer to the Lord and to fight those often mental battles that people cave into and lose.
Yeah, I think with some churches, it's something they either aren't that educated on because they aren't, again, they can't separate it, or they're like, oh, you just work through it. Like they don't, like,
Yeah.
there's a generation of people where they were like, I'm not depressed, I'll just work through it.
Right. Just pray about it.
Yeah.
Just pray about it.
Yeah. And I think that's a thing you should do
Mm-hmm.
with depression, but I like with what you're saying about the spiritual, and like the separation of it. People can't tell the difference, and they're doing all this stuff to kind of distract themselves, be like, oh, it's physical, but sometimes like with what you're saying, it is spiritual, and maybe it's they have like a kind of like a spiritual blindness where it's like they don't see it, and they don't have, someone isn't there, or God hasn't led them yet, let someone there be like, hey, this is what's going on with you, here's something to help you out. I think it's like this like this thing, and that's why God encourages us so much, like, be in your word and everything, where you have that discernment.
Yeah. 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 There's so many different, when you say mental health is a huge umbrella for everything that we battle in our mind, and honestly, it's all biblical. It's all biblical. It's all spiritual warfare to an extent. I've got a couple of the different characters that I've developed for the TikTok channel. Like one I'm doing right now, I'm doing on Peter. And people don't have good boundaries anymore. They don't know how to set boundaries. And I love Peter. Peter is a hothead. And so I started a series on Peter. So I dress up like Peter from the Bible, and I started right at the beginning where he was called to become a fisher of men instead of fishermen. And so it's as if Peter was alive today and he had social media. And all the trolls in the comments are trying to tell him that, he's joining an occult, or he's getting a divorce, his wife's upset, and all kinds of different things. And so he's addressing the people in the comment section, from his old business, his fishing business, to now him being a disciple for Jesus. And my series is all about learning how to set boundaries. And so as time goes on with Peter, we're going to watch him progress and gain a little bit more insight on how to handle people instead of lashing out and being angry at them. He's going to kind of learn to just set some boundaries and not let people push their buttons. And then I made another character. This one's the one that I made. He's really controversial. He's the one that seems almost out of place if you don't know what I'm doing. It's Jerry the fish keeper. So my character Jerry, he is he has aquariums. He loves fish, and he hangs out at the fish shop with his buddies. And Jerry stinks. He stinks so bad he gags himself sometimes because he doesn't have good hygiene. He's run a lot of people off, and the scary thing about Jerry is Jerry laughs about everything. He's just like, oh, the guys, oh yeah, there's Jerry. He smells like high tide, and they laugh at him, but and he laughs along with them, but then comes home and he talks to his fish, and that's where he can be the most real. And there's a lot of people who they don't know um, how to take the pain that comes along with other people. So they'll kind of laugh it off and be okay, and they'll keep putting themselves back in those situations. And that's what Jerry does. Jerry puts himself back in the same situations with the wrong people who don't really care about him. Jerry's nothing but a good laugh to some of them. And so Jerry masks it really well, but he's at the end of the day, he comes home and he talks to his fish. And in the one video in particular, he told him, he said, well, he said, told the fish, he said, you guys are probably totally offended by that, but that's just how bros are, and sadly, it's not how bros are. That's not how they take it. But Jerry's the kind of character that if he walked into the church, half the church probably wouldn't want nothing to do with him. And, the Bible told us that guy comes in and he's got good apparel on, and he comes in and he's well-to-do, and you say, oh, come here, have a seat here by me. You're not done any good, but it's the one who comes in is like Jerry that nobody wants to do with. That's the ones that we need to be, reaching out and loving on, because they're hurting. And I'm hoping that maybe some adults will grow up by seeing some skits like this and learn that everybody is important to God. He died for everybody, not just the people that we like or the people that smell good. And I think that's the hardest part about pastoring a church in 2026 is people want everybody to make them feel comfortable. They don't want to go out. They don't want to be bringing in new people, and they don't want to hurt, and they don't want to reach out to anybody who's hurting. And anybody who does that seems like they're the odd duck. And so Jerry's a strange character. And when I first started him, I'm sure people didn't know what I was doing with him, but hopefully they'll see that path that's going with Jerry right now, because there's a lot of people out there lonely. They've been pushed away, and they've just laughed it off and said that's just the way people are.
Yeah, that's really cool. Um, did either of you guys have any other questions?
Kind of what do you think is going to be the direction for the next few months for you? I mean, you said you got that character and you're working with the Peter. You got anything else kind of coming down the pipeline you're
I
working on?
do. I do. I've got several scripts wrote. I haven't filmed them yet. So I've got a character that I used to do in children's ministry. I wear a full size, full size sleeper, and I have a bonnet and a bib,
Oh no.
and a big rubber ducky. His
Oh boy.
name's Howie. And I'm going to be, I don't know if you've seen the Buddy and Preacher Dale skits that I do. Buddy is kind of the old party animal side of me that used to be before you got saved. And then Preacher Dale's the one kind of helps kind of level him back out. I'm going to be using baby Huey to be the immature side, the part of the Christian that drinks the milk instead of eats the meat. And and I'm going to be using that character to kind of show the spiritual growth and the depth that comes in. And so he's always hurt his feelings. He's always mad at his friend, and just acts like a big old baby. But we'll use some humor to try to pull out some spiritual truths with that. And then I've got a scientist character I'm going to be doing, Dr. Sparky, and he's going to be doing scientific parables. And I got a few other things that I'm working on. I got a couple others here. I guess I'll go ahead and share these. So I've got one we're going to be doing called Parables from the Plate, and it's going to be I'm going to be a 50s diner. I'm going to got my hat and apron and everything, and I'll be talking to a hamburger and fries at the
That's
at the
funny.
diner. And then I've got a couple of poop emoji puppets that are going to be sitting on the toilet, and it's going to be kind of a spoof of Sanford and Son. So I got Ed and Aunt Pester, and they're both they're poop emojis. They both have their own toilet they're going to sit on, and then I've got I got the plunger. His name's Lament, and instead of Lamont, and he'll be the one who'll be kind of representing the Holy Spirit. You got to get the poo out, if you know what I mean. And so you'll have the hyper spiritual, and then the heathen, which and then the Holy Spirit. So they'll represent those, and so I'll be doing some different fun skits. I've got the props built. I got a couple more of the puppets I've got to finish. The plunger's not quite done yet, but I'm almost done with those props. So once I get those all done, I'll be ready to start filming. I've got the toilets. I got 3D printers in this room, and that's how I've been making all my props now. So
Nice.
yeah. So those are
folks,
some of the new stuff I'm working on.
Folks, you heard it here first. Be on the lookout for that. That could be interesting.
It'll be a royal flush. let me
So,
tell you.
Yeah, roll flush.
You got
so
your filament wall over there.
Yeah.
I can tell it was filament or it was like movie reels at
Oh
first.
yeah. I've got all kinds of filament here. Yeah.
Nice. So, did your wife or your kids have any input on any of this? They're like, Dad, we really want to see you in a baby costume, or were they like, why?
Well, my wife actually, when I did children's ministry, my wife used to talk to baby Huey. So she would be the straight man. And then I was the comic relief, of course. So she would do the teaching side of it. So it's something that I've kind of always, I don't know, I've done this character for a long time. Back when I had a goatee, and then the kids all be like, he's got a beard. And he'd say, that's a growth hormone problem. So we'll be doing some of that. Now that I got the full beard, he's really got a growth hormone problem now. But yeah, it was my wife. My wife's always been in on it. Both of my girls. I have my daughter my youngest daughter turned 12 yesterday. My oldest daughter is 22. So they've grown up around this, their whole life. I've always done something goofy. So they're no strangers to this at all. I've been doing puppets since I was like 7. So, it's been in my DNA. My wife knew what she was getting into 24 years ago when she said, I do.
That's Hey, at least you knew. Both my brothers, their wife will say something, and I tell them, like, listen, you knew what you're getting into with those two, and yeah, it's always fun. See them, especially when we do ministry together. It's always fun. Apparently, they did singing the other day, and I missed it at their church, which is always fun to see. Which we can talk about that more next episode. If my brother's coming on, we can grill him. Did we have any other questions? No more questions. Doc didn't have any other questions. You didn't.
No, when it comes to the guests that I hadn't
That's fair.
met before, I tend to let them. I want to hear them have their stuff. So
That's
come
fair.
in blind. It's easier that
go.
way.
That's fair. There's less deniability.
There you go.
If it goes wrong, Doc's like, I was just here. I don't know, man.
Zoom call. Where am I? I don't know what that is. But yeah. But yeah, Dale, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
It was a fun, interesting conversation.
Mhm.
We talked a little about what you're working on, but where can they find you on the internet?
Well, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, and Instagram. I think that's about it right now. And then I've got I'm on Spotify, iTunes, with the podcast, and then I do have that first album I was testing out with some some country. Some country, most of them are country songs on that one. I got my Dirty Deleter song on there that I made just for my TikTok live hosts, um, on that song too on there. But that's all on Spotify. But I'll be getting that new album out probably, I want to say, by Easter. I'll be doing the other one with the mental health tracks on it, and trying to help some of that. And I think it'll be a lot of fun, more for for our tweens, to teenagers. It'll be a lot more fun for some of them. Maybe I'll try to have some fun songs on there. Got some heavy metal on there, some country, but most of all, it's just the kind of let the song kind of lead the heart, and then I'll follow it back up with some good teaching, kind of trying to bring it back around to the Word of God and how we can fight those different things in our life.
Nice. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
You can find us at Pizza Party Pod on most social media platforms, mainly just the big two: Facebook, Instagram, or big three: TikTok, Blue Sky. I was trying that, but I don't know. Blue Sky is one of the. It's the replacement Twitter, and it's for at least on mine, it's fine. It's just one of those things where I guess it's harder trying to get people to look at it. I don't know. Blue Sky, I don't think is turning out how people thought it was going to turn out when they did the mass exodus from Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Doc, where they can find you?
Me on TikTok, and I mean I'm on Instagram and Facebook, but TikTok is really where you're gonna see my stuff, and that's just going through with Bible reading, and right now I'm going through prayers of the early church.
Awesome.
Yeah, if you go to your Instagram, it's just you at a Weird Al concert. It's not
Yeah, that
interesting.
was the
to some
last
people.
thing that I put
Yes.
up there. Yeah, I don't. Let's say I don't
Yeah,
really. I repost everybody else's stuff on.
There
or
you
I
go.
put stuff on into stories. That's all.
Yeah,
I do.
you scared the crap out of me the other day, not because you were posting it, because I thought I got a spicy message from you, and it wasn't you. It just when I got notified, yours came in, and then like a random scam account came in at the same
Wow.
time. So it just said R.S. Dawkins, like, and then like right under it, it had blank message you. I'm like, what is Doc sending me? Oh, these are two different notifications that my phone glitched and like put like overlaid it together. I was confused. I was like, do I need to kick Doc off? Does he?
Need to pray for him. What's going on?
Exactly. Crad, where can they find you?
I too am on TikTok, and then on Facebook I am a Mary Hart Ministries. So check out the page.
Yeah, you working on anything or have anything coming up, or is it?
I have a
Kinda-
preaching appointment Sunday morning
Ooh, heck yeah,
at a church. So
nice.
we'll
You
be
can
posting the video there, or the link to the video there, hopefully.
nice. Heck to the yeah. You could find me at ft_fast talk for reviews on most social media platforms. Today I tried the controversial big arch from McDonald's because everyone was talking about that. I've seen every other fast food place mocking the CEO. I don't know if you guys saw that video.
I have.
Of every like Freddy's was doing it, Burger King was doing it, A&W I think was posting a thing about it, and I'm like, man,
Of course.
this is gonna get meme to heck. This is
Oh yeah.
it's a fun thing that McDonald's just dropped the ball on. That's really about it. I think that's what I've been busy this week. I haven't really been able to do anything else. But yeah, again, follow this at Pizza Party Pod on social media. Next episode, we're gonna have my brother. Hopefully, he said he's coming on. I just need to make sure that he's coming on. He has a history of saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna do something," and then he'll coincidentally forget. When it comes up, so I gotta nail him down. I need to get his wife to make sure he's where he's supposed to be. That's again the privilege of having sister-in-laws. You can.
Yeah. 60 episodes in, Nathan. I'm not exactly sure he actually exists. I mean,
Well, which brother is it? I got three. I can just rotate them out throughout the
that's
whole.
what I'm saying. This might just be an illusion. We don't know.
I don't have any brothers actually. And
It's
Want to
like
borrow
we
a
know
puppet
Krad's
and
brother.
Just call him
We've
your
met him.
brother, you know.
Yeah, yeah. If you need to borrow the puppets, he'll.
I
lend
have
you
some
one.
puppets somewhere actually. I could pull one of them out. I could put
Yeah.
put up another camera and just
I mean,
have.
Show me a picture of him. I might have one looks like him somewhere.
Yeah, there you go.
Does he
He can fill in if nothing
Yeah,
else.
is he skinny and have big glasses and?
Could pull that off. I've got one like that. I
You
got one
notice how he
ready
just
to turn
he
into my heavy
describes. It
metal
doesn't
team.
actually give a picture.
Right?
yeah,
He
yeah,
describes who his brother is.
yeah, exactly. He's got like a crooked nose. It makes him look like a shark if he was face up in the water.
Wow.
That's a great way to end the episode. Is just me describing my brother. He will listen to this. He's gonna go, "I'm not coming on now the way you're talking about me."